prior to the 20th century, pieces of art, particularly in our Western culture, I call most of the art that I work with, I would call aspirational art. That meaning that when Beethoven composed a symphony, he was actually hoping to better mankind through what he created. The architecture of many of the beautiful cities of Europe, for instance. This goes back to our Christian underpinnings of lifting our thoughts and our hearts to God. You listen to the music of Bach, for instance. I mean, in the person of Bach, we have the perfect meeting of someone who is extremely gifted, artistically, intellectually, just a superb craftsman, but also theologically very astute, very, very solid in his theological underpinnings, and it's sort of a perfect intersection of all of those things. So art prior to the 20th century, I think, was understood in this aspirational context and in a communal, a social function of what it can actually do to help society. In the 20th century, post-World I in particular, there was a shift in focus, and this would be towards what I would describe as self-expression. And when I look back at the composers that I performed that are most admired, like Bach, for instance, did Bach express himself? Absolutely. Was that his goal? No. I doubt he even really thought about it. Even Beethoven, who was quite an egotist, did not think of self-expression as the primary goal of his art. In the 20th century, on the other hand, a lot of it had to do with a lot of the artistic output has had to do with my experience, how I see the world, and even communally to express not aspirational things, but rather common experience. It's very earthbound in the 20th century, and non-aspirational, not intending to lift our hearts and minds to something higher, where we as a society can actually aspire towards something better, something greater than what we have in our present day experience. Rather, art in the 20th century is more about shining a light on present circumstance, oftentimes on problems, be they political or social problems, and not to say that this is not valuable, but it does not lend itself to contemplation.